Hey everybody, welcome into Old Mountain Bricks. Today we're taking a look at the BrickLink Designer Program Series 1 Old Train Engine Shed. Set number 910033 containing 2,331 pieces was released in 2024 as part of the new BrickLink Designer Program Series set, which is a subsidiary of LEGO, so it is an official LEGO set that we had to pre-order a while back. What we're going to do today, we're going to open this thing up and take a look on what's inside, do a quick time-lapse speed build, and I'll give you my thoughts and review of the set. Let's take a look. Cutting open the box, you'll find there is another box inside the box, including some more of the plastic bags that we've seen here. I personally still haven't seen any paper bags yet, but I know they're out there. And opening the other box, there's more bags inside and base plates. There are numbered bags 1 through 14, but a total of 33 bags plus an additional 5 bags for a total of 38 bags, small sticker sheet, and a little piece of paper about the build and the designer. As with most BrickLink Designer Program sets, you do have to use it on like a tablet or phone in order to build it because it does not come with paper instructions. As we get started with the build process, it does start on one base plate and then goes on to a second base plate immediately. There are a good bit of foundation elements in here, so I didn't mills plate it on purpose because it looked like it was raising high enough off and had enough bricks in order to make it pretty sturdy for as big of a building as this is going to be. But as we get going, of course, we do the actual foundation, a lot of brickwork, a lot of laying like tiles and such, and then some of the small foliage and the little details inside actually start coming together rather quickly before the walls do, so you can get those inside, which was nice. A couple fun builds. I don't like when things are loose inside the build, but other than that, I thought they were all pretty good. Then you start with the windows, as that can of course get a little repetitive as you do that a number of times in a row and have to put the window glass in the little window frame, and it gets a little repetitive with that. Always been one to say that I enjoy building walls of like modular buildings because it's basic brickwork, and this one has a couple different colors, so it makes a nice little design as you're putting that together. They are similar colors, so I did have a couple times where I accidentally grabbed the wrong piece and then had to fix it. You then kind of finish up with some of the smaller builds, and then you start building the track inside with the little lift arm in it, and then the next thing you start building is the actual roof. I thought this was a pretty solid piece. I was worried it was going to be a little flimsy, but it really wasn't. Put together this small exterior shed, I'll call it, outside of the build that's not really attached, so it was a little flimsy, but there were a number of details inside of it and a few printed pieces, which I always appreciate there. And then the last thing you do is you actually do little train tracks on the side and right in front there with a nice little ballast type system there. It's not like mine, but it gets the job done, and then you finish up with a few other miscellaneous details like this little pole and everything else, but let's go ahead and take a look at it. Okay, and here is the BrickLink Designer Program Old Train Engine Shed. So there is a lot to unpack here with this set. First of all, this thing is a larger set than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was like a base plate and a half when I was looking at it like on the box, but this is 2 full base plates. It's huge. I'll get a comparison over here in just a little bit. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of the details going on in this set. There's a lot of detail over in this area with like this power pole, and I believe this is like a water type hose thing. Again, I'm not well versed in the lore of trains as far as the names of specific things here, so you'll have to forgive me. But you got a nice sticker piece here for a clock. You got some vegetation outside. I'll try and show you some of the minifigures, but I really like this like pole here. It has like the electric warning sticker and the bird up there. It just adds some nice detail. One of the other things, these are stickers up front there. I feel like we had pieces like that similar they could have used, but that's okay. These are doors that can open, as you can see. That goes right into the train engine shed, and we'll take a look at the interior in just a second, but definitely some interesting part usage there. It's got the garage door pieces there in order to kind of have those windows. They're using like the display model type railroad tracks, so it's not the pieces that you can kind of get in the train park set. It's kind of these rigid pieces here that kind of go all together. So they've got those right out front and inside there, and also on the outside. You can see something I'll talk about in a minute. I did not put this on a mills plate because the railroad track is already raised up a good bit here. So in order to integrate it into my city, we'll have to kind of play with that a little bit. So I didn't want it to be too high up. with a building this big, I probably should have mills plated it anyway and just figured it out. Rotating it around, you can see again some more vegetation. There are some sticker details in there of like newspapers. I wish there was a few more of those. There was like one on each of these big windows, which is okay, but I think a few more stickers would have added to that to make it a little bit more realistic. You've got a little cart out here, the one that kind of teeter-totters back and forth. You can put a minifigure on there. It's a little bit weird scale, but it overall makes sense for a minifigure to use, so I'm not too upset about it there. Over here you've got the train stop. This is where that minifigure is supposed to go, but I don't feel like that's a safe place for him to stand, even if they're bringing it in slowly. I probably would stand off to the side there. This cart is just meant to be loose back here, which I'm not a big fan of, which I'll talk about in this set. It can kind of go on the train tracks, but I don't think it's really meant to. It's got like an octane propane type thing, some barrels. Over there, some more little vegetation. This little ramp right here can kind of swing open with a little gate, which is kind of nice. You've got another bit of vegetation, kind of, you could see something is apparently leaking out of this drain pipe, which added some nice detail going around like that, as well as like some of the lights and such. But over here, if you look in a little closer, that is like a little water piece down there. You can see it's kind of having some of that green effect of that kind of shooting out. Got a little trash can there. You've got some flexi tubing to use as part of a fence. We've got a little shack kind of around the back, which we'll come back to. A little fan that can spin there. And the other side is pretty flat, just more of like the brick detail and the single stickers I was kind of talking about in each of those, but all of that looks fine. Looking at the top, it's like these big display plaques up here with the matte finish. I wish they had kind of the matte for like these two pieces here, but it gets the job done. Up here you've got like the little exhaust or chimney type pieces. Looks good from an exterior, as that's what you're going to see most of the time anyway. I like the use of vegetation. I feel like it could have used a little bit more of this type of thing kind of along here, which I'm planning to do to my Lego city here soon. So I'll probably modify this to make that a little bit more realistic in the future. But overall, nice. Here's a shot of all the miscellaneous leftover pieces, which is kind of a lot for this kind of set. So let's take a look inside of the old train engine shed. This part comes off by just lifting up this part here. And over here, it's a little finicky, but it comes off okay. If you look at the inside kind of construction of the roof, it's pretty solid with kind of just those hinge connector joints in there, kind of keeping it at that angle. As we go inside the old train engine shed, you can see that the train does roll along those same things we were talking about. You can see more of the minifigures here. They are have jumpers, which I feel like was a last minute addition when I first saw this set. And you can see a few like special builds right here, kind of like a little crate and a walkie-talkie. Over to the side here, you've got like some hard hats and a little like motorcycle helmet, I'm going to call it, but still looks pretty nice. But going inside a little more, you can see you've got like a little lantern and some other kind of miscellaneous tools, like a little drill press over there was kind of a neat build, and a little toolbox, which I thought was an interesting build, but it feels like it's a little too big for this set, along with a little fire extinguisher, another like clamp right there, and some sort of like wheel type machine in there, as well as the other little minifigure, and a door kind of leading to that other exterior thing, which I'll show you in a second. But when you look at it kind of again from top down, not a lot going on in there, but enough you can probably get your average engine inside, so we'll test that out in just a little bit. One of the other fun features is it's got this little wheeling piece here, which you can kind of move back and forth. It does have tires that just roll along these tiles with some sticker pieces on both sides. It says like a weight limit of 50 bricks. This part moves back and forth and has a chain and a hook down in there, so you can kind of, I guess, take the engine out or something like that, or work on it as you were to need to. Another thing I wanted to show you is this little container here. It definitely looks like a toolbox, but when you elevate it so much, it's almost as tall as the minifigures, and it doesn't latch to anything, which I don't like on sets like this because it just rolls around freely and no way to really attach it. This part over here is also an interesting build because it's pretty much loose from it, and because it's on a base plate and on a mills, it kind of just moves around and everything's just kind of loose like that, so you can take that out. But if we take a look inside here, it just has a few random details like a little cabinet, Has the stove, which kind of does connect and go through the wall, which is nice, and a little stump. So I think this was like a kitchen or something else beforehand, but they've made it into just a little storage room. Again, another loose tile like for a newspaper right there. And now just a couple comparisons that I was talking about. First thing is you could see like my train tracks sit just on a base plate at the moment, but you can see the difference here of how high this is up. So if you put it on like a mill's plate like you would any other type of modular building, it would be even higher up. Other thing we wanted to test is, can we actually fit a train inside this thing here? So I've got my train engine. So it's kind of hitting this little thing because it's got the clips up there. Mine might be a slight exception because mine's got those clips up there that maybe don't fit as well. So I've moved that out of the way. So having it go inside, it does kind of hit the top of the brick thing because of those clips again. But you can fit a whole engine inside there, and that looks pretty cool in order to do that. And the chain, like I said, can kind of go back and forth, but any taller train might not fit inside and actually have play feature to it like this one. And here's just a quick comparison size-wise. Here's the Sanctum Sanctorum, which is one base plate. It is a corner building. So maybe not the best comparison, but it's an average standard modular kind of building height compared to this one here, which I guess is similar in amount of pieces there, but overall, because it's spread out over two base plates, it just makes it seem huge. Okay, and here's a quick look at the minifigures. Does come with 6 different ones. Of course, nothing new with this because it's a BrickLink designer program set, but overall, nice. Got some dual molded legs there, got a mustache, more dual molded legs. You got the prosthetic leg on this one here, and then printed legs over there. It's the same outfit we saw in the Snack Shack that I did earlier. Check out that video if you haven't already, but it's like the apron kind of print. This one with the Octan printed there has a reversible head. All the other ones are blank on the back. Overall, nothing unexpected, but I thought these were very nice minifigures. Okay, final thoughts. I think this is a great set, but I didn't like it as much as I thought it was going to. I got much more enjoyment out of doing the smaller Snack Shack earlier than I did building this. It was still a lot of fun to put together. I think it's going to look great in the Lego City, and I'm going to be glad that I got it and not have the FOMO from not ordering it like I have some other BrickLink designer program sets in the past, so I'm glad that I did pick it up. Again, it has the issues with converting kind of to the mill system and the loose builds and everything, but overall I think it looks great. I think the designer did a great job. Like I said, it's a little bigger than I would want it to be for a Lego City, but I think overall, if you have the opportunity to get this set and it checks enough boxes for you, it could be worth getting. But otherwise, there's a lot of inconvenient parts about it that doesn't fit, quote, the Lego system. But overall, I enjoyed it for what it was, and I'm excited to find a place for it somewhere in our Lego City. But okay, that's going to do it for today, so leave a like on this video if you thought it was helpful in any way. Comment down below what you thought of the old train engine shed. But until next time, thanks for coming by Old Mountain Bricks today. Have a good one.